Hello and welcome to Senior Happy Living. If you're here, chances are you, or someone you love, has experienced the deep sorrow of losing someone important. The truth is, grief doesn't get easier with age. In fact, for many older adults, the loss of a spouse, a child, or a lifelong friend can shake the very foundation of their daily life. Suddenly, the house feels quieter, the days seem longer, and even simple things like making tea or sitting in the garden can bring tears to the eyes. But here's something we want you to know. You're not alone. Grief is natural, and healing is possible with time, support, and gentle care. In today's video, we'll talk about why loss hits so hard in later life, how to recognize signs of emotional distress, and most importantly, how you or your loved ones can begin to heal. Let's take this journey together because everyone deserves comfort, dignity, and peace, especially in the moments when the heart feels heaviest. Why are older adults more vulnerable to loneliness and depression? Old age is often seen as a time to rest, reflect, and enjoy the fruits of a life well lived. Yet for many older adults, this stage comes with quiet moments of sadness, long afternoons of emptiness, and a growing feeling of being left behind. There are many reasons why older people are more likely to experience loneliness and depression. One of the most common is the shift in family dynamics. As children grow up, start their own families, and build their own lives, the time spent with aging parents naturally becomes less frequent. Though love remains, the conversations and companionship that once filled the home may begin to fade, leaving the elderly feeling distant and forgotten. Another major reason is the pain of loss. With age comes the gradual passing of spouses, lifelong friends, and familiar faces. Each goodbye is not only a personal sorrow, but also a breaking of emotional connections. The people who once just understood are no longer there. The world keeps changing rapidly, but the elderly are often left behind in a quieter, more nostalgic space. Health also plays a critical role. Aging bodies become weaker, and chronic illnesses can make movement and social participation more difficult. Someone who once enjoyed community gatherings or evening walks may now be limited to their home with less contact with the outside world. This physical limitation can deeply affect emotional well-being. Moreover, retirement or the end of a working life often leads to a loss of identity and purpose. Many seniors begin to ask themselves, am I still useful? What do I do now? This sense of no longer having a clear role in society can gradually turn into feelings of worthlessness. Over time, this can lead to isolation and depression. But these struggles are not simply part of aging. They are signs that need attention, understanding, and support. Older adults don't need grand gestures. They need presence. A sincere question, a warm embrace, or simply being included in daily life can mean the world to them. When they are given space to contribute, to be heard, and to stay engaged, seniors can thrive emotionally and spiritually. They have stories to tell, wisdom to share, and love to give. And when supported properly, they don't just grow old, they live with beauty, meaning, and dignity. Losing a loved one, a deep emotional shock. In life, few pains are as profound as losing someone you love. For older adults, the death of a spouse is not only of a life partner, but also the loss of someone who shared every joy, sorrow, and daily routine. The one left behind no longer hears familiar footsteps, no longer shares quiet evening conversations, or sees that comforting presence in the morning. It's not just a person they've lost, but also a rhythm of life, a sense of companionship that gave meaning to each day. This emptiness is difficult to describe and even harder to fill. A vacant chair, an unused cup, a favourite song playing softly, any of these can stir memories and bring tears. This grief isn't like ordinary sadness. It lingers, quietly and heavily, making the world feel dim and the home feel unfamiliar. Even more devastating is the loss of a child. Whether due to illness or accident, losing a son or daughter is a pain that words can't truly express. Parents, especially in their later years, carry a deep bond with their children, built over decades of love, sacrifice, and hope. To outlive one's own child feels unnatural, and the emotional wound can be lifelong. After such losses, many older adults withdraw. They may speak less, sleep poorly, lose appetite, or show no interest in things that once brought joy. Some carry guilt or try to act strong, even as they feel hollow inside. If left unsupported, these emotional responses can develop into lasting depression, affecting both physical and mental well-being. Grief is not something to get over. The person who has passed away cannot be replaced, and the love shared cannot be erased. But those who remain still deserve to live, not just survive, but find comfort and connection again. What they need most is understanding, patience, and gentle companionship from family, friends, and the community. When surrounded by love and empathy, healing becomes possible. The pain may never disappear completely, but with support, older adults can carry it with grace and continue to live meaningful, peaceful days, honoring those they've lost while still cherishing life. Don't hide your sadness. Let your heart heal. At an old age, most people have gone through great losses in life. A lifelong partner, beloved family members, or close friends who have passed away. Every loss leaves behind a silence in the heart, and often many elderly people choose to hide their sorrow and endure quietly, thinking that being sad won't change anything or crying too much will only worry the children. But the truth is, burying sorrow does not make it disappear. It only causes it to linger quietly within, and over time, this emotional burden may lead to depression, insomnia, heart problems, or even a loss of purpose in life. The most important thing is not to forget the pain, but to learn how to accept it and face it in a healthy way. It's okay to be sad, and you must allow yourself to be unnoticed. Each loved one's passing leaves a void. Don't try to pretend that nothing happened or force yourself to be cheerful. Doing so is like denying your own feelings. Give yourself permission to be sad, to cry, to miss them. That's not weakness. It's an essential step in the healing process. When remembering someone who has passed, don't fear the tears. Tears are part of love. Talk about them. Share stories with your grandchildren about the old days. Recalling memories doesn't make the pain worse. Instead, it helps reconnect you with the love of the past, allowing it to remain peacefully in your heart. Write it out to lighten your heart. If it's hard to talk, write. A small notebook or even a piece of paper can become a silent companion. Write down what you're feeling, the grief, the longing, the words you didn't get to say. When you write, it's as if a weight is lifted. Many elders have shared that writing helps them sleep better, think less, and slowly find peace again. Speak, not to solve, but to be heard. Find someone you trust to talk to. A child, a close friend, a neighbor, or even a counselor. Sometimes, just having someone listen, without judgment, without rushing to give advice, is enough to soothe the heart. Speaking your feelings aloud is already a big step toward healing. Growing old should not mean silently bearing sorrow. Let yourself grieve when needed, and the heaviness will eventually ease. Sadness is not the end, it is part of the love that once was. Stay connected. Don't withdraw from the world. After experiencing loss or periods of deep loneliness, many older adults find themselves slowly retreating from social life. It may start with small things, turning down invitations, preferring to stay indoors, or telling oneself, I don't want to burden anyone. Over time, this isolation becomes a habit, and without realizing it, the world begins to shrink. Yet, human beings are not meant to live completely alone. Especially in later life, maintaining emotional and social connections is vital, not only for happiness, but also for physical health and mental clarity. Studies have shown that regular social interaction helps reduce the risk of depression, cognitive decline, and even heart disease in older adults. Staying connected doesn't mean you have to be surrounded by people all the time. It simply means making room in your life for meaningful interactions. A 5-minute phone call with a child or a friend, sitting with your neighbor for tea, waving to familiar faces while taking a slow walk around the block. These little acts of connection may seem small, but they are like drops of water, keeping your emotional garden alive. If your loved ones live far away, try using technology to bridge the gap. Ask someone to help you set up video calls or voice messages. Seeing a grandchild's face, even through a screen, can bring comfort and a sense of presence. You don't have to understand every function on a phone. Just a few buttons can open a window to warmth and laughter. Joining community groups is another gentle way to reconnect. Many local centres offer activities tailored for seniors. Gardening clubs, craft circles, reading groups, or low-impact exercise sessions. These aren't just things to do. They're places where you can meet others who understand what it means to be older, to have lived through change and loss, and to still be here. Even if you feel shy or hesitant at first, give it a chance. You may be surprised to find new friendships blooming at a time in life when you thought everything had already been settled. Conversations with peers can be healing. A shared memory, a laugh, or simply the company of someone who listens without judgment is often more powerful than we realize. And remember, it's okay to tell someone when you're feeling lonely. Sometimes people assume that older adults are fine just because they don't complain. But speaking up, even just to say, "I'd like some company today," can open a door to warmth, kindness, and reconnection. Staying connected is not about being busy, it's about staying human. And in every moment of sincere connection, we are reminded that we still matter, that our stories are still unfolding, and that we are not alone. Find joy in simple daily moments. After the loss of a loved one or during a season of emotional heaviness, it can be difficult to imagine feeling joy again. The world may seem quieter, colours less vivid, and the things that once brought happiness may now feel distant or unimportant. But within each day, no matter how heavy the heart feels, there are small, simple moments that can offer warmth and meaning, if we gently allow ourselves to notice them. Joy in later life doesn't always arrive with excitement or celebration. More often, it comes in soft forms. The scent of tea in the morning, the familiar feel of a favourite blanket, the sound of birds outside the window, or the way sunlight moves across the floor in the late afternoon. These are not grand experiences, but they are real, and they belong to you. It's easy to overlook these gentle joys, especially when you're grieving or feeling empty. But one of the first steps toward emotional healing is to make room for small pleasures again. Not because they erase the pain, but because they give life, texture, and light. Grief and joy can live side by side. You can miss someone deeply and still feel a smile rise when you see a blooming flower or hear an old song you love. Try to re-engage with familiar routines that once brought comfort. If you used to tend the garden, even watering one plant can rekindle that sense of peace. If you enjoyed baking, preparing a simple recipe can bring back the rhythm of care. Doing these things again is not moving on. It is honouring your past and showing kindness to yourself in the present. Hobbies are also a quiet doorway to healing. Knitting, painting, writing poems, assembling puzzles. These activities don't demand words or explanations. They allow your hands to move, your thoughts to settle, and your spirit to breathe. Many older adults discover new interests later in life, sometimes by accident. A neighbour introduces you to watercolour painting, or a local club invites you to join a storytelling group. Be open to saying yes, even if you're not sure you'll enjoy it right away. One powerful source of joy for many elders is giving to others. This doesn't have to mean something big. Writing a birthday card for a friend, giving advice to a younger person, or sharing homegrown vegetables with neighbours. These gestures create a sense of purpose. When you give, you feel useful. When you help, you feel alive. And in turn, you receive the quiet joy that comes from being connected. Joy may not look like what it used to. It may not come with loud laughter or bright celebrations, but it is still there in the slow, steady rhythm of ordinary life. And the more you let yourself notice it, the more it will grow. Every small joy is a reminder that life, even in sorrow, still holds beauty worth noticing and days worth living. Seek professional help when you need it. There comes a time when grief, sadness, or a deep sense of emptiness becomes more than what we can carry alone. Perhaps you've tried to stay busy, to be strong for others, or to wait for the pain to fade. But some wounds go deeper and need more than time. They need care, support, and professional attention. And that is not a weakness. It is an act of wisdom and self-respect. In many cultures, older adults are praised for their resilience and patience. There is strength in endurance, but there is also strength in knowing when to ask for help. Emotional pain, just like physical illness, deserves proper care. If you had a broken bone, you wouldn't try to heal it alone. You would go to a doctor. The same applies to grief that lingers too long, to anxiety that steals your sleep, or to sadness that dulls your days. You might be wondering, is what I'm feeling normal? After losing someone dear, it's completely natural to feel lost, tearful, or numb for a while. But if weeks or months go by and your sadness doesn't ease even slightly, it may be time to talk to someone. Signs that you may need professional help include a constant sense of hopelessness, withdrawing from all contact, losing interest in activities you once enjoyed, difficulty eating or sleeping, or even thoughts that life no longer has value. Professional support can come in many forms. Speaking to a therapist or counselor, even just once or twice, can make a difference. They provide a safe space where you can speak freely, cry without judgment, and begin to sort through the heavy emotions. These conversations don't require you to be fixed or to perform. They're about being heard, guided, and gently supported back toward balance. Many older adults benefit from grief counselling groups where they can meet others who have gone through similar losses. In these spaces, you realise you're not alone. You hear stories that reflect your own, and you begin to see how healing, though slow, is possible. Medication may also be suggested in some cases. This doesn't mean you are broken or crazy. Modern treatments for depression and anxiety are gentle, personalised, and often temporary, meant to help stabilize you while you regain your emotional footing. A good doctor will explain options clearly and listen to your concerns. Importantly, seeking help does not mean you are letting go of the person you lost. It means you are choosing to keep living while honoring their memory. It means you are choosing peace over silent suffering. It means you believe your life is still worth tending to, and it absolutely is. No matter your age, you are still growing, feeling, learning. Asking for help is not a sign that you've failed. It's a sign that you still care enough to heal. And that, more than anything, is a quiet act of courage. Thank you for spending this time with us here on Senior Happy Living. If this video touched your heart or reminded you of someone you care about, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below, whether it's a memory, a question, or simply a word of encouragement for others going through a similar journey. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming videos on senior wellness, emotional support, and healthy aging. Together, we're building a kind and caring space for older adults and those who love them. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other.